Sit down. Something's like it's 30 or something like that. Heard of Badoo. I heard of Badoo.
Commissioner Murphy?
I said, I heard of Badoo.
Yep, I heard it too. It's good.
So you're, sure.
So, I don't know everybody.
No, I didn't know the bill and CDO bids. So, you know, John B. Wall is, yeah, so it's down.
Oh.
Bill.
Well, I didn't look at it.
Well, I don't know. I said, John's dad was my scout leader.
Oh, my God.
You're a little bit echo from somewhere.
I am good. Wait, Louis, where you go?
Is the laptop? Speaker. Yeah, just use this one. So, Brian, okay, yeah. I'm surprised that I was about that. Oh, I got those. That worked for the color guy. Well, no, he was happy. Otherwise, I would have complained that this thing lost my super testing too.
Yes.
All right, we got you back. Well,
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody.
I understand that. All right, we're gonna move ahead. We're gonna put number 9 on the table. We're gonna proceed past it and come back to item 9. So item 10 is a conception application, GB-22-02-014, 932 Mohawk Street. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. I do. Please state your name for the record.
Andrew Cole.
Sir?
Proposed work description, applicant proposes a 3 seasons room in the existing nook in the southeast corner of the structure. Proposed porch would roughly be the size of the existing covered area with small extension towards the east end of the building and 24 inches extension to the south. The overall area is approximately 9 feet 6 inches by 15 feet 8 inches. The existing cellar stairs will be removed. Foundation repaired and surrounding finishes and filled. The existing porch roof and post will be removed to make way for a proper structural design. At the past February business meeting, commissioners requested staff to locate the Sanborn maps of this property to clarify the date of the rear southeast porch area. Commissioners requested the applicant to clarify if the original openings of the existing main structure will change for 3 seasons room and if there's another access to the basement as other means of egress. Commissioners like to see how the applicant is planning to pass into the existing building. They requested applicant to indicate where the property line is located and also stated that these 3 seasons room floor plan has extended since the last drawings. This extension would mean that the addition would be seen from the right of way, which has not been typically approved in the past. Also, to wrap the original structure corner of the building is not typically permitted. Typically, the commission wants to leave a reveal on the corner and leave it exposed. Commission should offer design feedback that can be utilized by the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at future GBC meeting. No action is required.
Anything else to add?
Just follow-ups to some of the questions. My responses didn't make it in at time. There are no changes to the original openings of the existing structure. There is currently other access to the basement through an interior stairwell. Fastening to the existing building would be determined by engineering details once we have a design in place, so I do not have the answers to how that would look just yet. Property line location, we are approximately 9 foot 5 inches away from the property line to the south. It does not appear that there would be any variances required. Just those were the follow-up items I had that didn't make it in time.
Questions, comments from the commission?
Do we know if the existing roof is historic?
From the Sanborn maps, it looks like somebody was there. It is in the meeting materials, Stephanie, I think, if you could scroll to the Sanborn map. think I let it go, I put it at the end, so no worries.
Yeah, the existing post needs to be believed at least that that post is not rigid, or the foundation. Doesn't mean components aren't. Yeah. The way it's that concrete kind of circular foundation would have been historic.
There was a roof there.
Right. The other downspout people do her.
One thing gives me pause is looking at the underside of the roof on page 7. Looks like it's got board
Yeah.
opposed to a sheet.
Yep.
Then your joists run across there like an undersized typical historic as opposed to modern day code.
They're not skid board, which would have been what they would have done for slate, which is interesting. Right there, board. See that flashing, pretty old. Yeah, that one picture of a step.
For the applicant's sake, we're just trying to identify if it's historic material or if it's I think for the applicant, again, for the applicant's sake, for the commissioners, if we get past the term that is not historic, comments on the proposed.
But we typically don't like to see the wall of the new wrapping the corner, so a detail that might help with that.
Is that I think we can deal with. The extension past is kind of my question as far as the sticking point, or if that becomes a
They
sticking
came to
point.
2 foot beyond.
Yeah, with the existing structure size it is, it doesn't leave much space to make that a usable room. So, we had some we've been before the commission before looking to do some work in the garage that we have paused on and kind of pivoted, I guess. So looking for what they're trying to accomplish here. That additional 2 feet makes this a usable room versus really not for what their intended purpose to be. So I think we can, I would say that the homeowners are very flexible as far as working with the guidelines that the commission places forth. They're not really steadfast in much of anything from an architectural standpoint. So I think we can work with things like wrapping the corner. It's, whether that 2 foot's going to be, whether that bump becomes an issue or not.
For me personally, our next step. For me personally, if we can determine that roof is not the historic roof, I don't have a whole bunch of heartburn about it. There was a statement that it's not, or it is visible from the right of way. Is that, if I'm looking at this picture, there's an ivy covered fence. That's the street section out there, right? So the bump would become visible. Doesn't necessarily bother me. Personally.
I think the question, if we do get on board with the bumps taken out, I think the question becomes, what's that facade look like from the street?
Right. We don't see currently.
Yeah, we're not the elevation of that, so if we bring it back, is it a panel, is it a screen, is it glass, but how's that gonna be treated?
Is there so again, flexibility, we have a lot of flexibility in that. So is there something that would be preferable that would make, make or break the decision? I mean, I would, my reaction would be probably some kind of a lap siding would be my initial go-to. It would probably be solid and some kind of a lap siding. But, I think we're certainly flexible in that. So, if you said absolutely no to lap siding, but we would do this, then, I think we're open to those comments.
And then you're thinking you would apply that lap siding all the way around as well?
Yes. Yep.
That's something, something that's different, but of the material.
I've seen, we have, I don't have them with me. I didn't include them in this. But, I have seen examples I don't have addresses and things, but I do have pictures of other examples within, the village that has been utilized in the past. Now, whether it's been approved or not, I say.
Yeah, that 2 foot doesn't lend itself to like a board back or something like that, right? So I think that something horizontal makes more sense.
I'm usually a stickler for engaging corners and poking out beyond being more of a, if it reads as more of a porch as opposed to more of an addition, I think I can get past it. I would ask the question, typically if we were trying to do an addition on this type of property and we're building to the west, south, whatever it is, adjacent, that would be typically used as kind of like a connector piece. We found value, or we found success in the past with that being more of a solid glass. So it reads as vacant, or as, not as vacant, but as transparent. Whereas we're putting lap siding or something on there, it's gonna read as solid. It's gonna just amplify the fact that we're poking out the side.
Something more like the original application, actually.
We still have the view of the front.
Yeah, but if you did that same thing,
Can I suggest that we decide whether this is a historic roof or not before we go down the road where we have to circle back and say we're not doing any of this because of it?
well, it's conceptual, so. it's
Well, but-
conceptual, yeah.
Yeah,
So this all hinges on whether or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so part of this conceptual is it conceived as a historic roof or not?
Right.
I guess the question is, if it's a historic roof,
Are you gonna allow them to demo it?
I guess with the roof pitch and the roof height, could the roof be incorporated?
We could reuse what's there, it would just extend. So height and the pitch, we were planning to match. Basically, what the intent was to continue the existing roof out, but with what's there, there's not a lot worth saving structurally from a construction standpoint. Now, if it's determined that it's necessary from an architectural standpoint or a historical standpoint, we can absolutely keep what's there and extend it out, but we're altering what's there. So I don't
And
know.
I would say extending it out denies the fact that it was ever there to begin with.
Right.
Right.
So really, it's
Is there a creative way then to keep it, change a little lower roof height that doesn't look?
Right, that, and I could think like a small transom window and then it extended out, but I think that looks silly. In my opinion, but, and whether that would fit with, architectural guidelines of the building.
You could almost, I don't know, it looks like you just haven't seen it. But if like the new portion was 2 feet around the existing roof, and it was a flat roof that was lower, all that dropped onto there. I don't know. Crazy, but it'd be clearly different, right?
That would solve part of the problem, not all of it, but keep engaging that corner.
Sticking with it.
Just like what he said, it's like a transom there and then another shed roof.
You think another shed roof?
Yes, it would just drop down. How close would the extension be to the property line? When you go out that?
With the extension, it was 9'5" approximately. So, the current existing structure is 11'5" approximately. What guidelines or what information do you need to determine whether that is a historical roof?
I think personally, we'll probably, it looks big unless we can determine somehow that it's not. I'm under the assumption it is.
I think it is too.
I think that's probably good.
I think the post is in place at some point in time, but then
Well, and I think the plywood at the end is new.
Say that again, then I could.
I think the plywood closure at the end is new too.
Yeah, there's parts that seem to have been added to it. Right, it was probably just a sloped shed the whole way down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
so, I'm gonna ask the question, Commission, of if it's simply a roof over the area and the rest of the structure that defines the porch is no longer there, how much is still there?
Yeah.
And is what is there still worth?
I don't know if there ever was a porch there. It may have just been a
I would-
service area under a,
Yeah, I would assume with the, I mean, with the cellar stairs there, assume there probably wasn't a porch, but, yeah. I guess it's as good as mine.
yeah.
Are there any issues with removal of the cellar stairs? Is any of that bring issue for anyone?
You're gonna be able to replace the furnace in the
The
future?
only,
That goes-
the only concern I
I
can,
believe so, with the existing stairwell in the house.
yeah, that's the only concern I have, and it's not just can the residents get down to the basement? Is there a big enough space for them to replace mechanicals that need to come up and down that might have previously gone down through the cellar door?
Make sure to verify.
Now, they'll want to think about that. They won't want to be like me, and realize, oh no, what have I done?
Well, if you could plan for a panel or something. Plan panel.
You too.
So as it stands right now, then we need to consider, or I guess, I don't know, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth here, or do we need to reconsider a design that incorporates the existing roof?
I think that's correct. I think that's what you're hearing.
Unless we can identify it's not historical in some way.
And then to clarify the wrapping the corner portion of things, so right now I've got, it's drawn with the wall on the west, kind of butting that corner. So in other words, we would have a flat wall in the interior. What exactly does wrapping the corner, or what are you looking for there? Does it need to
Like the,
step out? Or
instead
just,
of doing this, it has to do something more like this.
okay, so it needs to kind of L shape into it. I can't just move that wall 4 inches,
We just want to be able to see the corner of the.
the whole corner.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So from what, just to clarify my understanding, extending past is not necessarily a major hurdle. It's more of what that 2-foot extension looks like from the street elevation and how we do that. And did I infer that there was a preference to have glass there or versus a solid panel, or is that just an idea?
That's one of my ideas. I'm not saying that that's the way you gotta go, just.
And I would say you don't have to, but that's just me.
Okay.
It's hard to comment on these.
I understand. Yeah, we can put together a few different concepts and see what makes the most sense. I think our bigger hurdle is how do we tie the existing roof in to make it work.
Yeah, but you've got it on that side, then you've got it down at the other side too. Because you're bringing the wall much farther out than what the roof is now.
I'm sorry, say it again.
You're bringing the wall, that wall across the back, it extends beyond where your roof,
Right.
so you got two sides to,
Two sides
Deal
to
with
deal with. Yeah.
but I think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Okay, I do have one question which may lead you down an architectural option. Right now, I think your plans show flat walkout into the 3-season room. If the height of the existing roof is problematic with that floor elevation, you could look at a step down and to get some extra height to allow the roof to stay.
Yeah, I don't think we have, actually, I think there is a step down there. The height of the existing roof is not an issue,
Okay.
I don't believe. Now, I suppose there could be, I don't believe so, even with this proper structure. Now, I guess if we end up having to step down or whatever the new design or the design alternative, that could create an issue as we step that down. So it may, but we could always step down an additional step or two out of the house if we need to.
I'm guessing you'll still be able to make code compliance.
Yeah, I would think so. Is there, while I have a captive audience here, is there any, what's the preference for underneath said porch as far as foundation goes? I mean, we're not looking to do a full foundation, so it'll be more of a post type structure. Lattice work, things like that. Is there a preference? Just propose something and you vote on it?
Mohawk Street, Sycamore, one house up, rebuilt that porch. Take a look at what they did right there. That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
And the lattice doesn't speak to me,
Look at the big front porch you have to build.
but it's not very visible either, so super concerned. That's just-
That is okay.
East side of Mohawk, one house in Winwood.
Okay.
Big front porch. Anything else?
I think I'm in good shape.
Appreciate you coming in.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Item 11, GB2202015.
If I was seeing myself on this one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hang out, in case either applicants come back and,
I gotta do mine still.
oh, you're still okay.
I push it to the end just to get through this. Can you please raise your right hand?
on my rock.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth.
I do.
And please state your name for the record.
Casey Burns.
Great.
Proposed work description, the project proposed detached two-story addition. The addition includes a garage and bathroom on the first floor, and a bathroom guest room on the second floor. Finishes have been selected per Durham Village Commission guidelines and are outlined on the plans attached with this application. At the past February business meeting, commissioners requested further photos of the alleyscape that include the buildings that are existing on Stimmel Street, which should include the heights of the adjacent adjoining structures. Commissioners stated that they typically do not approve kitchen and bath combinations in carriage houses, only kitchenettes. Commission should offer design feedback that can be utilized by the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future GBC meeting. No action is required.
Anything else to add?
Just confirmation that there won't be a kitchen or kitchenette on the second floor. It'll just be a full bathroom.
You've been here for previous conversations about
So
two-car garages and method.
yes.
Morgan, just a point of clarification,
Yes.
because you talk about this as being a late 19th century building.
Yes.
I think it's older.
It was built between the 1830 and 1835.
Yeah, because it's Greek revival. Thank you. Good.
Might have gotten that mixed with another one. so
Yeah, no, I-
apologies.
I've
Thanks for
seen this
verifying.
I've looked at this house and it is such, it's probably the best example, if not the only example, of Greek revival architecture in the village, which tells me it's right, you got the dates right, right on the money.
Thank you for that. 'cause
Yeah.
I definitely got
It
it.
is a gem.
So, yeah.
And
It is
the,
a freaking gem, and I'm glad somebody's working on it.
the small area behind the main house is actually the oldest smokehouse and the only working one left in German Village.
Wow.
And so the roof, we proposed a couple of different roof slopes to match the alleyscape, but the roof slope that is preferred matches the roof slope of that smokehouse.
Great house.
I've only seen it from the outside, but I've heard it's. it's
I had the
really
outside of it, yeah, I knew they were doing a lot of work on it 2 years ago, yeah. But it's architecturally, it's a gem.
Just come before for some reason.
No, this is the first conceptual.
I just want to make sure.
It came for the business. Yeah. Well,
I'll be honest, my first pass, his name was like, what are we doing here? It's used on what my player. They got it now.
This is really not, it's not a two-story addition. Two-story building added to the site.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I guess it's an additional structure detached
Okay.
on the same site.
Yeah, we just need to keep the semantics right.
Okay, understood you.
Again, it's massive
Okay.
and a streetscape, obviously. Yeah, you've heard all the below the average height, yada, yada, yada.
So the peak of any of the proposed roof slopes is just at the eave of the neighboring structures. And they either have gable or hip roofs above that height. So we would be well below the overall roof heights, all the other structures.
Yeah, we just need documentation.
Go to page, we go to page 7, last page of the application. Probably need more structured streetscape, but this kind of gets, into some of your questions.
Yeah.
You can see that there's a tall principal structure to the right on the alley, small structure to the left.
I tried to bring down, with the single slope, I'm trying to bring down the height so that it more matches the single story
Yeah.
garage. Kind of marry the two, drastic changes in elevation.
We're gonna want to see a two-dimensional
Okay,
elevation of that side of the street. Not photos, but actual photos.
okay.
Streets, residential, houses. Any other comments or feedback? Question? Anything else that you'd like from us? Information, specific things?
No, I understand that the streetscape, and the mass, when it comes to heights is, as I understand, what's most important for additional information.
And probably whatever variances you're gonna need would be good too.
Okay, I don't believe we're, in need of any, so I'll repeat that.
And check to see if you need ones to make the building legit now.
Sorry,
Existing variants on the primary structure.
okay.
Probably need one for setback on the side.
So were you looking for comment? This is option 2.
If comments can be provided, yes. We have 3 options, for the roof slope. The first one, is a single slope. It matches the slope of the, structure across from the site, on the same site. And then 2 and 3 are just, the difference between a gable or a hip roof. That more matches the streetscape, but doesn't, necessarily match the original buildings on the site.
My suggestion is go with the one you think is most appropriate. Justify it with the streets, the elevation of the street.
Okay.
Make sure you match the guidelines.
Thoughts on the garage door? Page 3. Circle 1, J102.
A lot of them like that.
I just
You know,
want to ask a
I'm kind of over the battle of garage doors.
So garage selection, you proposing wood or
Um,
yes, what are you thinking?
Wood, it was, selected from the range of like pre-approved, I guess, that, are listed by the commission. So that was one that I pulled.
Yeah, this is what we stack approved without the handles.
Yeah, without the, I thought it was garage.
Yeah, no handles, but we did stack approved this style of work previously.
I know we've had some effort in the not too distant past of looking at some newer to market door options that were either not faux wood, but a composite.
Yeah.
So with this being more, if you go with option 1, being more of a non-traditional necessarily garage design, I just don't want you feeling you have to pen yourself into one style if you're
Okay.
having a different style.
Okay, good to know.
There's a smooth wood finish for this.
Nothing else? Coming in?
Thank you.
I see no other folks in the audience, so we're going to assume the other ones are going to show.
Yeah, motion to move them on.
So item 1, GB-22-02-0, GB-22-02-007, 713 South 6th Street. Is there a motion to continue?
I move to continue.
Second. Any questions, motion?
I do actually, Commissioner Murphy, would you like me to hold Commissioner Foley in before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is since we're on a new application, we're going to on these numbers.
Well, about, continue these, the applications there, yeah.
Without objection. Continue without objection. I'm gonna continue, vote on that without objection. There's stuff that we're gonna do without objection.
Do it then. Okay. What's the official language for that? What's the official language for that?
So it's just, yeah, motion. Is there any, without objection, the motion carries.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the table. We've got a second to continue. There's no objections. Hearing none, motion carries.
Clarify, that was to continue all the,
That was item one, each one of these.
There.
No, just to censure Commissioner Foley.
Actually, that's that whole end of the table.
I'm good with
So,
that. Item-
Mr. Chairman, item 05GB-2202-009617-619 South Lozelle Street, I move to continue.
Question on the motion? No objections? None? Carries.
Mr. Chairman, on item number 06GB-2202-010-707 South Sixth Street, I move to continue.
Question on the motion? If there are no objections? Carries. I think that's it for the comments. All right, then we'll pull up, item 9, which is me. So
we still conceptual?
it's for action, but it's like probably gonna end up being continued.
Who wants to swear Commissioner Perkins?
Feels.
Commissioner Keel.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name.
Anthony Hurd.
I
Thank
think I fucking smart aleck.
Oh. Yeah, I usually don't, do God, and most things I deal with.
With St. Mary's, that might have been a front rate.
All right. So, Chairman Markey, would you like to proceed?
Or read this?
This is for 364, 366 Jackson Street. Proposed work description, application was seen as conceptual application during November 2021, Gb2201011 and during the January 2022, Gb2201011. Changes include revised elevations, altered dormer width, and siding options. The proposed 2.5-story addition to rear of existing residential property. Applicant plans to remove the existing rear bathroom dormer, a second-floor addition to serve as the connector. Addition of dormer on rear existing roof to facilitate stair access to existing third-floor attic space. Siding proposed to be smooth metal steel and architectural panels. Zoning variances will likely be required for existing conditions of historic structure. No new conditions should require variances. Applicant would like to propose another siding option to replace the vinyl siding on the existing bathroom dormer to remain on the 366 side of the property to use as a test case. This material is called Easy Meg siding by Abbott Limonati. This is a phenolic resin horizontal siding material that has installation options in both a bevel reveal as well as a lap installation. The siding appears to only come in 8-inch panels, but could be a simple manufacturing line change to add a 4-inch or 5-inch option. At the past February business meeting, the commissioners asked if applicant owned both sides of the property. Applicant responded yes. Commissioner also asked if there was any future plan to expand the other side of the property. Applicant stated that there's not an immediate plan to expand, but it can be an option for the future. Commissioners also requested physical samples to be provided and presented at the hearing of proposed siding. Following is taken from the unapproved January 5th, 2022 Durham Village Commission hearing minutes. Commissioners commented on aligning the horizontals on the addition with the existing structure for more rhythmic massing. Commissioners thought the material change was good. Commissioners requested physical examples of the material for the next review. Staff recommends approval, any and all clarification to be submitted to HPO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of certificate. This is based off German Village Guidelines, page 93, additions, number 2 and number 4.
So since last time I was here, there was a little bit of change to the elevations. The rear elevation there. Essentially what we did is we took the third floor, we kind of set it back a little bit to kind of have it recede, so it doesn't read as one giant mass. Looking to get some head nods from the commission on the architecture massing. As far as materials, I've got a couple options I want to run by the commission. There's some alternative stuff that outside this application, I think we should be aware of as a commission. Commission should be aware of just to see what's on the market as far as materials go. So, are there any questions on the design aside from materials?
Where did this big wall come from?
So that was the original intent, is to have the divider wall to separate one side versus the other. On the west side of that wall, the intent was to have some kind of either a living wall or an art installation. It's all interior to the property. That was the driver behind it.
What side or east side?
So east side.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, back house basically.
That's okay, yeah. It's so big and so massive. And to me, it just,
Black.
Anthony, to me, it looks totally alien. I'm sorry. It just, yeah, when I saw this, I thought, I get the divider wall piece, I get it, but this is, to me, it's just so strong.
So the thought is bringing it down, narrowing it, making it less massive, or just?
Making it, I mean, to me, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to necessarily follow the profile of what you got. Okay, I get that. It's very industrial. And somebody, to me, it just seems to, I know you can't see it. But still, it's just so industrial out there in the back. Somehow,
You're backing up to parking lot.
So it's a large parking lot of a
yeah,
under construction.
That, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Starbucks is kind of catty corner back there.
yeah.
And Children's Hospital, like,
Yeah, so the top of the over all of it.
I actually love it, but I'm trying to decide whether or not I feel like it's the guy I want.
Just so I'm clear, if this was not in German Village, I would love it. I mean, I love this stuff. This was not in German Village, I would tell you to take the wall right into your house. I'm not kidding, I would. I would tell you architecturally, just do it, man. Just do it. But being in German Village,
That's the struggle. Yeah.
that's my struggle.
Yeah, I understand. I would say that the only view of this is going to be from the backyard and from Poland's yard, Dan Poland's yard.
Yeah.
Towards the fence. From the view you can get from Grant, which is the cross street over, is going to be the view of the bottom left corner, or the left side of the sheet. That's going to be the view from the only public way you can see this thing from. It's going to be all rear yard.
Anthony, I heard you say too that it's either going to be an art installation of the wall. And that's in the section that's marked in red. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the intent, is to put something on there, because I agree that it has mass to it, and it's flat. The reason why we didn't have any fenestration or anything on it was because it's the divider wall between one unit and the other. I'm trying to speak a little bit to that. I don't want to put a bunch of holes in there and then have to go back and have to cover them up
I
and
get
everything
that.
else.
What if you lowered it down so that your top part was above it, but it was the same line as your eave on your main house?
So, okay, so bring it down to like the roof line of the second floor.
Yeah,
That would be a lot.
that I think would be great.
It'd also be great to see what's intended for the art installation it's hard to see
Yeah.
that.
And-
But I agree with that, bringing it there seems to.
And the other thing is to go do the addition on the other side someday. Is it 2-family right now?
Yes.
Don't put the third floor in the addition, so you can still get sunlight into that upper floor on your unit in the morning.
The reason why the wall went all the way up is it didn't want that little loft space to feel like a hat.
I think you can solve that somewhat. I do. Like I said, Well, the German village, I tell you, take a whole.
It's, hoping to get it through with it because it's,
But I think if you take it down and then fix whatever you need to do on that thing, so it's not like a hat, and I think you can do that. I have no problem with that wall. I like it, I really do. It's just, I was kind of surprised to see it when I saw the application.
the original intent was to do like more of a stacked stone on that wall, but then we decided to go with.
No, I like the big panels. I like the big panels.
All right, any other design feedback? I think that if you do that, not there. Sleep.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, let's talk.
Are you interested in bigger windows on that top floor, or are you?
I think we're open to it. It's just, we're trying to find a way to make it fit and with that wall there.
I would go, I mean, those, you got nice vertical stuff on the bottom, and then all of a sudden you got this little, it looks like a hat with little thin horizontal stuff. I would carry that horizontal vertical thing and open it up.
Go back to the floor plans. Yeah, you talked about what's driving up there right now. The intent is that's just a loft space above the primary bedroom. Yeah, it's existing. If you go one more sheet down.
You see the stairway.
Yeah, we're gonna have an alternate tread stair built into the casement, casework closet. So basically bringing that room, the south wall and the east wall bedroom with closet space, because we have no storage in the house whatsoever. Second floor is kind of more of a solitary retreat for Erica to go up there and have her space to do her thing. I get the office on the first floor, so it's kind of give and take. And so the original intent was with that wall is going to be solid on the first floor because we don't want to have fire code we add on.
Yep.
We want to keep the wall second on the solid second floor because of the casework. We just kept it solid all the way up. But I think that opens up some opportunity to pull some light in from the other side. We just had the windows a little higher just to let that read. A bit of a more solid, but
You're considering privacy, but I mean, if that solid wall came down and that whole top piece was almost all glass, it really would become a lot lighter.
People are from the street, and they just want to see the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah.
take that back. Not opposed to that. Trying to come up with a nickname for what that wall would be, and I couldn't figure out architecturally what.
But I like it, I really do.
If you looked on Grant, now garage door case that came before us, there's a garage that has a big divider wall between it. That's kind of what we're driving to it. So,
And that's legit what they did.
so proposing metal horizontal siding. This is steel, the lifetime warranty pre-finished. Trying to take some of the feel of traditional siding. Obviously, it's just larger. It's not wood, but you get the reveal looking a little bit more like wood. Rigid, not going to flex the way that aluminum siding would. That was meant to be the light gray area shown in drawings. We decided we're going to go dark or light with the side, the horizontal, and then the panel being light or dark, kind of offset. We're still figuring out colors. Sure. But looking at that, this is the Ceraclad. This is a porcelain coated panel. Both the same. That was the original intended to use, but when I got the sample, the finish was a little more textured than what I was anticipating.
And these are the large panels on the side.
Yeah, larger panels. The nice thing about them is they are super durable, long-term finish, easy to maintain. Air and water on the finishes on that will self-clean, so minimum maintenance for that. But the texture I'm not so sold on because it's a little more rough than I intended. So that kind of led us to this is Sembrit. This is your fiber cement options that are out there. You can see those.
You're trying to get a smoother finish on it.
Right. This is the fiber cement panel.
How's that fast?
You can do concealed fasteners, or you can do drill through and do face fasteners. They can conceal the way I want to go with it.
Yeah.
Heavy.
It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. This is a phenolic resin panel. This is the mag that we're talking about, not easy mag, but mag. Phenolic resin. Over.
You phenolic like bathroom protection?
Yeah.
That's where I went.
Yeah, we just use that at Delaware schools.
Nice.
Yeah,
They're not cheap either.
they're not cheap, but they're 60-year warranty on them. They're gonna last long-term.
You're selling saying your state's gonna be selling this house?
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
These are cement edges.
That's, yep.
And they don't have to. Cement is.
That company has come with products, one that you have the color all the way through versus this panel here, which is just a top coat, so you can scratch it, which is gonna be hard to do, but you'll see the under material. So not proposing this, that's more of a through color. Just wanted the commission to see this material, not proposing it, but it's the same MEG material. They make a strip siding. Don't make the 4 or 5 inch we're used to. It's only this dimension. But they do have a material that's sturdy, not to get the flex that you get from party panels. So if they can get down to a more traditional profile, I think that may be an option to come before us.
So does this mount off of the
You can
victim
Z-clip
barrier?
it, you can Z-clip it, or you can
Yeah,
lap it as well.
Was it a rain screen or is it a barrier?
You can install it either way.
yeah, this looks like a rain screen.
That's the rain screen variety, but you can get a plain old lap siding of it too. So I think it's coming to the market, I think maybe an option for us down the road if we can get that profile.
Anthony, the horizontal metal siding, where would you think about using that? That's the only one I'm
Sure.
concerned about.
You got the elevation on the drawings?
That's nothing.
Sure. So on the drawings, the light area, the light gray, that is proposing metal siding.
Here,
Here's this. Okay. Anybody want a second look at this stuff? Take it back over to you. You want me there? Yeah.
You can leave it there, I'll get it after.
because the
Well,
only,
Morgan
the
wants to
only
see it.
concern I've got
I'll bring it.
is we specifically say no aluminum siding. We get the reasons for that and all that other stuff. Is this similar enough to aluminum siding that it could be taken that way and cause a problem, slippery slope, all that stuff, or is it okay?
I think it's different enough in the fact that it's not, doesn't have the smaller profile of trying to be mimicking wood siding.
Clapboard, yeah,
It's
clapboard, yeah.
to be a larger format exposure. It's not very flexible. It's steel as opposed to aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
It's got pre-finish on it. I don't think, it's kind of like hardy versus boral, where we don't like hardy because it transmits the waviness. It gets the boral. It is a metal material, but I think,
And it's not lapped.
No, it's not, but
right, it's got the,
Oil canning or anything like that?
yeah, it's thick enough, it won't get oil canning, and it's got that little bit of reveal to be. Thought is with a little more, more contemporary modern design, trying to get some of the feel of horizontal siding from the historic structures, but not going.
Yeah, it'll certainly read different just because it'll be shiny.
If you scroll down in the materials, there's some literature in there for that, if you want to see kind of what it looks like on a full facade as opposed to just two pieces. Yeah, those right there. So that's the look it gives. The fact that it's smooth as opposed to lap, I think really is what sets it apart.
it's almost like nickel, yeah.
But you wouldn't get anything.
I have no strong objections to what you're proposing with your other ones.
Last piece I want to put in front of the commission, not necessarily proposing it, but started doing crushed stone, rock, rest, panels. And so that's that truck. So the European company has moved in. Got a big old. That's busy this month. These are just different finishes. Get good. Yeah, get smooth, get rough, get wow.
What size is this?
That can come in the large format panels.
Okay,
Trying to, I think you can get it down to about a strip. That's the right material. I think you can get a 7 inch, 6 to 7 inch strip, of that stuff. They have hidden fasteners, exposed fasteners, and they have an adhesive fastener. You want to adhese it to your backing material.
Oh, wow.
Spectacular variety.
And the last thing to show you, we're not proposing this either, but came across it. This is the same quality edge that does the metal siding, the steel siding. This is a product they produce for soffits.
Mm.
And ventilation, and then we always have the soffits. So this is a fancier metal, but being on the soffit should be too big of a deal.
Right. Great, it's gonna structural.
So the thought is people trying to find that soffit ventilation. That's a material that could be interesting to see in place.
Oh, that is good.
The whole thing?
Yeah, inside looks.
Oh,
It's cool.
So.
Let's put it on top.
Yeah.
Got the edge to cover up that.
This is.
Yeah, that's the bad thing was in there, so you don't see it there. Big soffit.
building.
So right now, the application states the Vesta steel strip siding, which I still want to propose. And then as far as the large format panels, we'll look at adjusting that wall height. But the panels, I think I'm leaning towards phenolic resin panels, or if cost becomes prohibitive, look at the Sembrit fiber cement option.
I don't think aesthetically there's much difference between them as far as what you're doing, so.
Make sure there's no naysaying and proceed forward with.
Yeah, I just say big panels.
Seemed like the rosin would be better if you can swing it, just because of the color, and then not worrying about things getting scratched.
Yeah. But it's more expensive.
Yeah, well, sure.
I want to say,
What is always more
I
expensive.
think this, what I understand is, depending on what finish you get on it, it's 12 to 15 bucks a square foot, is what you're seeing for this. Your fiber cement, this stuff's gonna be probably in your 10 to 12 bucks a square foot. Ceraclad probably at your upper end.
Yeah.
15 to 18 bucks a square foot.
So what's cedar siding? Cedar.
Uh,
Black.
I don't know, because you can't find it.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not too much. Nice thing is also installation costs. This stuff goes up quick. You loose screw it, don't actually hard fasten it in. It's meant to move a bit. I don't think we have the documentation level for you to approve it unless you can.
I'd like to see what you do with that third floor. I would do that. I think, me and you're almost there.
I don't have any objections to what you're proposing. And with the alternative to phenolic or the. But just to test the waters and poke the bear.
If this was gonna be visible to the public way in any way, I'd be completely against it, but nobody's ever gonna see it.
So I have to poke the bear on behalf of the architect. If the wall stayed at the height it's at or come down a little bit, but still went up through that loft space. Anybody on it? I know Ned is a no.
Yeah.
Are there any other no's on the commission on that? I want to just take a pulse of where everybody's at.
I'm not tracking Ned's recommendation.
He talked about bringing the wall down to the same height.
Like this, the roof?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the
So,
second.
so there's no tracing of it.
Ned's saying he wants the top of the wall down to the height of the second floor roof.
This would be
So here,
Okay, so this one just look like a cap on top of the.
Yeah, and but he needs
Oh, he wants to bring it all the way
this
to
looking thing.
below
Now, what you're asking is, what it was just.
Yeah, I can leave it where it's at, I can bring it down to the top of the loft.
So what's the,
It feels like it needs to be a little above the roof, but maybe not the whole 2 feet that it's showing. That's just my eye.
what's bringing it up there?
Because right now.
Right now,
You like
it's
the way
just
it looks?
it's like the way it looks and brings it up and engages that dormer.
Okay.
Or the,
I love the way it looks too, but I just.
It's the same height as your.
it's down a bit. If you zoom in on the dimensions,
Is it a little like?
Yeah, yeah.
All the way to the house and kind of coming up.
should be
Right.
down below the peak. It's not showing that way, I think we gotta.
We're saving you thousands of dollars.
Commissioner, before I keep your statement, the intent is for it to be below the peak,
Okay, it doesn't.
not matching. I think this
It
version
looks
might
like
be showing.
matching.
I think
Yeah.
it shows it. Maybe a few inches less right now.
So right now, it looks like it's a little more than 2 feet above the roof on your 3rd floor. And what I'm saying, to me, it feels like you want to reduce that dimension down, but I'm still feeling it wants to, yeah, I don't know. Does it go 6, like this dimension all the way across? Or if it just lined up here, that it's a whole different animal.
I'm looking at it from the other side.
What's that outline?
The other elevation. becomes more.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the one elevation.
Well,
that
yeah,
it's
it's
from-
just, you're just seeing the sheer wall, you're saying.
that's the side that I'm.
And that was the intent of trying to put either a living wall or an artificial living wall or an art installation. One idea I had was trying to do, string up the street grid outline, like a village in string light, to put something on it just to break up the massing. We talked about maybe popping a little ledge overhang off of there, but that just looked weird.
But Anthony, the fact that you're talking about that and you're trying to mitigate that tells me that that's a problem for you also.
There's a piece of me that has a problem with it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the other piece of me really likes it. So I'm trying to find a way to make it work.
I do too, and my suggestion is to keep the most of it, but take some of it off the top.
There is something to the fact that if you were to keep it high, it's crazy. This darkness of it.
Yeah.
Continuing is weird. It's like, makes it like a stone monolith rather than something that's.
Not continuing it because the chimney that exists there.
Yeah. I get why there's something to it. At least it's hard in pure elevation to judge it too.
See, there's a part of me that just is really attracted to what the evilness that is telling me. And I want to see what's inside that window, buddy.
With it.
I know it does, it does. It's like, what is that? Yeah.
What is that there?
So,
Who put a big, steel box on the back of that house?
We might be able to get there, in all honesty, but I'd like to see both, you know? I think it would be helpful for the
I would love
conversation.
to say yes to this, I just.
Commissioner McCoy, Commissioner Durst, is there a chance you could get to something, not that high necessarily, but maybe bring it down a bit, but not down to the second floor roof?
See, yes, see it. I do think it's cool.
And a lot of it's gonna be how you handle that 3rd floor if you take it down. That really.
Could you have, since you are potentially, it sounds like we're gonna potentially continue, see it in perspective from eye level, you have the 3D views from above, but to see how it looks when you're standing in the ground.
Yeah.
Would be really helpful.
Like if the 3rd floor led through the roof. Led through the wall, you actually see, rather than just butting up to one side of the wall, and the top level had part of the penthouse, so to speak, visible.
Oh, so the roof carried through, like the
Yeah.
roof,
so
the
part-
roof.
part of
They have like
Level.
planes intersecting.
So like if the piece of the roof, which we don't see at that panel, if that was on the other side too. So like it was, yeah,
Just the roof line coming through, you talked about cutting out.
like
Chunk.
about, it would be proud of the,
Something to break it up at the top level. I thought about, well, what if it was just an outline, like that
Oh,
Franklin's
and
house?
Right.
If it's something puts.
That's a fire.
Really look at trying to bring the first floor, the second floor, if you look at the elevation, the panel size changes right there at the transition.
right.
I looked at bringing that through a bit, but it just didn't look right, so I pushed it back and kept the panel strip to kind of read around and try to break it. It's hard to design for one side of a house.
It's so cool to your point that it looks like it just came from outer space, cracks right there.
The model.
I love it.
Right, yeah, 2001, right?
I do love it, I really.
If those, like, if what Teresa had said about taking, you know, and showing that as kind of proud of the wall on that side, but what if all of those did that so that then it wasn't quite as big a monolith? You'd have something there and then you trace another piece and then see how this one comes through.
Yeah, so on the second
not-
floor roof, loft floor, that, look at the side elevation, the west elevation, it doesn't extend to the end of the wall, so that's why it's
Right.
not there. We weren't
Yeah.
using the same material to come through. So if I would say that the second floor, I think should stay flush. And just use the height of panel to read around, like it currently is. Take a look at the second floor roof. That would poke through it all. Look at the loft roof.
Yeah.
Look at bringing it down. Look at a couple options there. We'll decide which ones we like the most. We'll bring one or two of those back.
But I think that the difference is with that, I think what Teresa was saying is you're making, and I don't know if it makes sense to do that at the roof of the first floor and the second floor, but you were talking about it would be proud of the wall.
Yeah,
It
just
would have to be,
sticking out. But
project.
But now that I notice it, like, yeah, use the reveal line.
Yeah.
To reflect the.
Well, so maybe that one still does that, and the second one comes up.
As well.
We'll take another look at it. We'll come up with one or two potentials.
I think the fact that we're talking about it in this much detail, something. So. Right?
See.
I would really look at the fenestration on that third floor.
Yep.
Because right now it reads as an afterthought, like you didn't really, you know,
Yeah, I think the intent
Either-
there.
tie it together or really divorce it, one or the other.
Yeah, I had to change from what was there originally, just to try to, a lot of the interior space, because it's a loft and you have floor plans, you can see you walk up the south side, you kind of wrap around to the north. The north is really the central piece of that loft. It's just we couldn't get up there any other way.
Mhm.
And that was kind of the best interior flow. And then we were like, well, if we're gonna have that wall there, just have the wall go up, we'll put some more storage up there, call it a day. If we're changing that, I think we can look at,
That's your best space.
first of all, office is the best space.
Well, oh yeah, that third floor is your best space.
Make a yoga space.
You need to tell somebody that the third floor really is junk and that you will suffer up there.
Last year, question I had for you. So the foundation, I think we're gonna go with the block because the rest of the house is all stack rubble anyway. We're gonna have a little bit of banding visible. So if you look at the north elevation versus the west elevation, we're keeping the west elevation water table with the rest of the house to kind of keep that line coming through, but the floor actually steps down, so you step down into it. So the north elevation, you'll see, is actually lower than the west. Yeah. So the foundation, I was looking at split face or kind of a rough term for that CMU block is, or larger aggregate CMU block. I also found a CMU block that looks like dressed cut stone.
Polished?
Not polished.
No.
It's got like the facet, like it's been chiseled.
No, okay, yeah.
I've only found one or two manufacturers that make it, and we're in that region. So is there a preference about that? I think we want to kind of want to go more with either the split face, something a little more smooth to kind of fit with the rest of the smoothness.
That's where I would go with it,
You want
as
to just go-
opposed to a block that's supposed to.
Do you want to just go with plain?
I don't know. Maybe,
I mean, I don't think it needs to be split face. We've always asked for the split face in garages and stuff because it matches the rough stuff that we find. This edition doesn't say split face to me. This edition says a regular block or a polished block.
okay. Yeah, just give me a couple of courses of both of them.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
Yeah,
where the heck is that with it.
because otherwise it looks like it's built on top of historic foundation, which is not.
Yeah.
It was like a Superior Walls precast basement.
Cool too.
It's too small for their scope. It's gonna be expensive. Okay, well, with that information, we're gonna go take a look at the third floor. We're gonna try to solidify the final pick of the materials to the noted drawings. Back next month. I just didn't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. If I can ask you to continue the application.
Motion to continue. Item EB-2-02-02-013.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Please continue.
Thank you.
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Back at the end.
We have to do without opposition. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Second?
No question on the motion. There's no objection. Okay, adjourn. Oh, yeah?
For my benefit, since it was out of the room, was there a preference on our